So this is the plan, and now we'll get into a little bit more of the details of the plan. Basically, 5 areas of work. First, renewably power the existing grid. Second, switch to electric vehicles. Third, switch homes, businesses, and industry heating to heat pumps. Fourth, high-temp heat delivery and storage for high-temp industrial and chemical processes, and a little bit of green hydrogen in there for chemical processes that need hydrogen. And finally, sustainably fuel planes and boats. These are the 5 areas, and we're going to go into detail on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is that as we improve the energy density of batteries, you'll see all transportation go fully electric, with the exception of rockets. That's awkward. But you can make the fuel with CO2 and water. So you can make methane with CO2 and water. So
and in fact, you can do that with just electricity. So.
Yes, exactly. So, in fact, on Mars, if we hopefully get there at some point, the atmosphere is CO2, and there's water ice throughout Mars. So you can take the CO2 and H2O and turn that into CH4, which is methane, and oxygen. So ultimately, even rockets can be electrified.
So first, repowering the existing grid with renewables. And this is going to be a consistent theme. You'll see our estimates for the number of terawatt hours, terawatts, and trillions of investment at the bottom of the page. You know, this is already actively occurring in front of us. 60% of the generation added to the US grid was solar in 2022. And actually, on a year-on-year basis, solar deployment is growing 50% year-on-year as of 2022. So this is a serious upswing. And if we continue this trend, this is going to be behind us before we even know it.
Yeah.
Second, switching to electric vehicles. Again, 21% reduction in fossil fuel use by doing this alone. Obviously, Tesla is heavily engaged in this activity, along with many others. Overall, EV production grew 59% year-on-year in 2022, and EVs hit an amazing 10% market share. I mean, it's an awesome milestone. I'm super excited to see that. I gotta.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously happening very rapidly, and I mean, I think really all cars will go to fully electric and autonomous, and so riding a non-autonomous gasoline car is going to be analogous to riding a horse and using a flip phone. That's basically going to be the situation.
And we actually took a somewhat conservative assumption here in terms of how many batteries are required, because the more the fleet is autonomous, the smaller the fleet needs to be, just from a utility basis. So we're not accounting for all of those benefits, or really much of those benefits at all in this number. And what does this fleet look like? You know, just rough view from our perspective. Of course, we could be wrong, but you know, you can see the sort of breakdown of the fleet by millions of vehicles. You know, our goal is to do 20 million electric vehicles a year.
Yeah. Fewer vehicles will be needed, at least passenger vehicles, with autonomy. So there's some debate as to what that number is, but it's some number less than the number of vehicles needed today. There's roughly 2 billion cars and trucks in operation in the world today. And
yeah, so what we show here is actually, I think, only 1.4 million or so. So we're represent 1.4 billion, I mean, or so. So a smaller fleet, and you know the numbers are here in this presentation are around 85 million vehicles a year produced. Just to give you a sense of how we're thinking about this. Again, we're going to put all these assumptions up online and encourage people's thoughts.
Yeah. So yeah, so we're basically heading rapidly towards an electric or autonomous future.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why EVs are so enabling is this end-use efficiency point. Tesla Model 3, it's 4 times more efficient from the well to wheel than a Toyota Corolla. And that's all about the efficiency of getting the electricity into the car in a sustainable energy economy, and then how efficient the car is in transferring that stored energy to motion on the road. When compared to the engine in the Toyota Corolla and all the extraction, refining, transmission, distribution of the gasoline to the Toyota Corolla. And just for, this is a fun reference, Model 3 can drive over a mile on the energy it takes to boil a pot of water for pasta, and then it can drive another mile on the energy it took to cook the pasta. And that pasta is 1 pound, and Model 3 is like 4,000 pounds. Just to give you a sense of just like, it really doesn't use a lot of energy to move a Model 3, that 4,000 pound object, down the road.
Yeah, also, heat is a lot more energy than motion.
Yeah. Yeah. But people, you just boil a pot of water, you don't even think about it. It's just interesting how efficient these cars are. Next, switching to heat pumps in homes, businesses, and industry. Right now, heat pumps meet 10% of building heating needs. Install rates growing 10% year on year. It really needs to accelerate. Heat pumps can serve, heat applications up to 200 C in businesses and industry. And from an investment perspective, as you can see on this page, this is actually the lowest hanging fruit in terms of displacing fossil fuels. You might be saying, well, what exactly is a heat pump? So heat pumps don't move heat, don't create heat, they move heat. When you think about like the natural gas furnace in your house, it is generating heat itself, but what the heat pump is doing is actually moving heat from outside of your house into your house. They're just an air conditioner or a refrigerator in reverse. So we're surrounded by heat pumps. There's they're all over this factory. They're in your house. And all this really is about bringing them to displace all the fossil fuel heating in all of the homes, business, and in the industry that we can. And from an end-use efficiency perspective, there's a three times reduction in the total energy required to heat these buildings. So a real obvious thing to do.
Yeah, heat pumps. They're in our cars, now as default. And at some point, we might make a heat pump for our home. So
yeah, maybe.